Welcome back to the Consistency Corner podcast, where today we are going to be talking about whether or not it is time to hire a social media manager. Now, you might be saying, Ruthie, you thought you said you're not a social media manager. True, which is why I'm going to talk about whether or not you should hire a social media manager or not. And if the answer is no, the or not, what are some alternative options to handle your social media without you doing it yourself? But first, let's talk about what exactly a social media manager does. So, yes, I offer social media management for my clients. The Consistency Corner is a full service holistic marketing agency. So we offer social media as part of your overall marketing strategy, meaning that we are also having conversations about the full marketing funnel, where you're attracting clients, how are we nurturing those clients both on and off social media, and what are the strategies that you're using to convert those clients from lookers or readers into actually buyers and customers. Now, I'm going to say right now, a social media manager alone will not do that. A social media manager alone is going to be focused on just your social media. So if you have the funnel under control and you have strategies in place for attracting clients, if you have somebody handling your email marketing strategies, if you have maybe a sales team that is focused on direct reach out or follow up with individual leads or clients, a social media manager might be the right fit because you just need someone to handle that one piece of the puzzle. But you want to make sure that if you're hiring someone to handle that one piece of the puzzle, that the other pieces are not being ignored. And you can achieve some amazing things with social media. You can achieve, reaching new audiences through shareable or savable content that boosts your um, view in the algorithm, with things like Reels or TikToks that are, short form video content that is often shown to non-followers. Social media managers can absolutely help you create and optimize content that is following the rules of the algorithm, that is jumping on the trends. But that in and of itself, I want you to so deeply understand this, that in and of itself is not a marketing strategy. That's a social media strategy, which is a part of your larger social media strategy. And in fact, I'm in some mentorship groups or memberships with other social media managers where the conversation is regularly, we as social media managers are not responsible for your sales. And I've talked about this on the podcast in the past that I feel gross saying that. No, I'm not, as your marketing strategist, responsible for your sales, but I freaking care about your sales because that's the whole point. That's the intent of being in business. And, as I've sat in a marketing director's chair working for a corporate brand and having hired agencies that say well, we're not responsible for your sales. We're responsible for impressions, or we're responsible for click-through rate, or, we're responsible for cost per click and getting that down. All of that matters only if we're also driving sales. And so it's important that whomever you're bringing onto your team has that understanding, and that you as the CEO or the business owner has strategies in place so that all of those things can work together. So a social media manager often is going to help you, like I said, create content strategies to post on and optimize social media. And it can be a huge relief to get that off of your plate, to make sure that you have a professional and consistent presence on social media that is on brand, that is nurturing your audience, that is also attracting ideal clients, and then putting, conversion posts out there with calls to action to work with you. That is something that a social media manager absolutely can do. But they're going to still need you for content. They're going to probably need you to provide photos, whether it's brand photos that are taken by a professional brand photographer, or even just iPhone snaps or videos taken on your iPhone or a phone from your team. They need that regular bank of content to be able to pull from, to have consistent and branded content on social media. And so you're still getting involved with the content creation process. Now, it absolutely can be easier. It can save you some time by having somebody help with it. But it's something to just understand that when you hire a social media manager, it doesn't mean that you are completely 100% walking away from social media. You're likely going to have at least one meeting per month with that social media manager where you also need to keep them informed on what's going on in your business. What offers are you promoting? What specials are you thinking about running? What are your business goals that they can potentially help you with? And what other areas of the marketing funnel are you working on so that they can, again, incorporate some of that information into your content? The other thing to think about when you're hiring a social media manager is exactly defining the scope of what you want them to help you with. How many platforms are we focused on? Are we optimizing content for those different platforms, or are we just reposting the primary platform's content onto a secondary platform? For example, if Instagram is the primary platform, are we posting that onto LinkedIn and Facebook? Or are we generating new content for the other platforms? Are we shifting the way we have links in the content? LinkedIn and Facebook, you can have a link directly in a caption, where Instagram you can't. And so we want to make sure that if you're hiring someone and you're asking them to optimize content for different platforms, that the content is truly optimized, that it's not just reposted. The other thing to think about, in addition to consideration of posts, is how are they handling posts such as video posts. Video posts do take more work than static posts. So if you're working with someone and they're creating a package for you that has a certain number of posts, how many of those are static? How many of those are video? How many of those are carousel posts? And understanding the strategy and the pricing around that. That being said, with Instagram, are they doing stories for you? Or is that something that you are doing yourself? Or are you not using stories at all? Again, all conversations to have ahead of hiring somebody so that you understand what the whole picture is and how you are leveraging the platform. Oftentimes, I've talked with social media managers who their clients are actually hopping on stories at the exact same time they're trying to post something in stories. And then we have glitches, and the actual client and the social media manager are not aligned on the content strategy. And then it muddles the messaging. And so that's important to make sure that you have a good open relationship and communication with whomever you're hiring, so that everybody's on the same page with how the platform is being used. Same thing with Reels. Are you posting Reels, or are you creating video content and sending it to them? Are you able to, and do you have the bandwidth to send them either scripted Reels that they help you with, or the B-roll content that maybe they can put video over or text over, or voice over content that you can record and send to them? Just thinking about all of those things and understanding what that looks like can help you determine, is a social media manager truly the right fit for you right now? And what does that actually look like? The other thing to consider is engagement. Outbound engagement is actually one of the many ways that you can get new eyes on your business and support the platform algorithms by being social on social media for free. Meaning you're not running ads, it doesn't cost you anything, but it does take time. If you are truly wanting to step away from social media and not engage, not connect with your community, not have conversations in the DMs, not comment on other people's posts, that's okay. But understand what that means. The platforms and the algorithm really don't like that. And often, if you do what we call post and ghost, meaning put posts up and then never engage with any other accounts, your content might not get shown to very many followers or audience members because you're posting and ghosting. So, outbound engagement is a way to kind of combat that. Now, that can mean that organically you're sitting on your couch and you're liking people's comments and you're liking posts and you're commenting on posts and you're asking questions in the DMs and you're just having conversations with people. It can also mean you're intentionally following a lead list. And I don't mean we're like cold, hey girl, DMing people, but people that have engaged with your content in the past, you're going and engaging with them. Or if you're your local business, maybe you're finding hashtags in your local area and you're engaging with content that have also used those hashtags and support other local businesses and getting new eyes on your business through outbound engagement. Are you doing that? Is the social media manager doing that? Is anybody doing that? Again, all conversations to have and to think about when you're considering your overall social media strategy and who actually is handling those things for you. Now, if you're like, okay, I hear you, Ruthie. I hear that outbound engagement is important. I understand that showing up on stories is important, that reels can be helpful if I have the bandwidth for that. So, maybe having a social media manager isn't quite the right fit for me because I don't know if I can afford somebody who can do all of those things. And that's the other thing about social media managers is they range anywhere from like a couple $100 a month to $5,000 a month. And you're like, well, how in the world am I supposed to figure out what package makes sense for me? And if like what I'm getting for the money, why would I pay $5,000 when I can get somebody for 500? Well, again, it goes into quality of work, experience, number of platforms, level of engagement, amount of content that is being produced, and type of content. It all comes down to time, strategy, and expertise. And I do believe that, like in any profession or service provider, you get what you pay for. And so if you're going to pay more, you're likely going to get better content, better results. So understand that when you're thinking about your budget is can you afford the level of quality that is going to actually get you a return on investment and make it make sense for you to hire somebody? So if you're like, okay, I don't know if am ready to hire somebody just yet. I don't know if I want to still, provide content and have to be meeting with somebody and constantly thinking about posting, even though someone else is doing it for me. That's where the 9 Grid can make a ton of sense because you get that content up there and then you don't have to think about it anymore. And I'll link the mini series in the show notes where we really dive deep into the 9 Grid strategy so you can learn more about what that looks like, what it looks like to have somebody do a 9 Grid for you, such as my team, or what it looks like to do it yourself, and how that can help you truly step away from social media without hiring a social media manager. And if hiring a social media manager does make sense for you right now, for example, maybe you want to focus on LinkedIn or Facebook or somewhere where a 9 Grid doesn't actually make sense, think about before you make that hire and before you find a social media manager. How is social media working as a larger part of your overall marketing strategy? And if the social media manager is able to free up your time and your bandwidth and your creativity so that you can focus on those other parts of the funnel and the marketing strategy, great. If that social media manager is doing only social media and you're continuing to ignore the other parts of the funnel, maybe you don't need a social media manager. Maybe you actually need a marketing agency. Maybe you actually need a marketing strategy to figure out your full funnel optimization and how you can attract, nurture, and convert clients both on and off of social media in order to grow your business so you can continue to make a greater impact and income. And if you're interested in learning more about working with us at the Consistency Corner and having me as your director of marketing in your back pocket to come up with that strategy and my team to implement the strategies that we come up with, hit the link in the show notes to apply and we will have a quick conversation about what that could look like for you because I'm already cheering for you. I'm already rooting you on. I cannot wait to see your brand sparkle in the new year and how it's going to come together when we pull all of these pieces and parts together and have that true intentional and cohesive strategy so that you can step away from social media but still have that brand presence and that overall content strategy that nurtures your audience on autopilot. So thanks for listening. Be sure to come back next week where we dive into more marketing and mindset strategies for business owners to make an impact and an income. without taking up all of your time and overwhelm, and making sure that you've got marketing on, running on all cylinders to help grow your business. So thanks for being here, and we'll chat soon.